What's up, everybody? Thralls Metal here once again. I'm Necrotic.
I'm Jammin John.
And we have an album review and kind of a bonus review along with it because, well, I mean, this is one I didn't expect to be doing considering this band, quote unquote, has been quiet for quite a few years. And, well, same with the show that's associated with it. We're going over the latest offering from Dethklok, Dethalbum IV. This comes out on the 25th of August on Water Tower Music. This band formed? I mean, it did, but it's the cartoon, but whatever. Anyway, this band formed in LA technically in 2006. Metalocalypse, adultswim. The show was fucking awesome, and it just sort of ended kind of, I don't know, a little too abruptly for my taste. And what I loved about this, and I didn't expect, was with every season, there was a new album. And when it stopped, I was like, well, fuck, man, I'm not getting any more Dethklok albums.
I feel kind of slighted.
So needless to say, this is their fourth album overall. I mean, they did like kind of a weird live symphonic album in between this one. But I mean, the last Death album was over 10 years ago. So this is long awaited. And I mean, I don't think there's any argument here that this is the greatest cartoon band of all time.
I didn't even know about this release until he said something, because it's been gone forever, and I just figured, like, we'd really never hear from him again. And then last night when we were talking, he said, yeah, I got the new Dethklok, and I said, you got what?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, if you're a metalhead on the face of this planet in the last decade or since 2006... you've probably heard of Metalocalypse, and it probably was the most amazing thing you ever saw to hit the airwaves.
I love cartoons.
Yeah,
I
love cartoons and I love metal, so, I mean, yeah.
Now, earlier this year, I did hear rumblings that Brendan Small was going to reapproach the whole Metalocalypse thing and kind of tie it all up in one movie and do another Dethklok album, so... I was pretty excited, and I didn't hear anything for a while. I was like, maybe that's just the rumor mill. And then some singles started dropping, and then the trailer dropped for the movie, and was like, holy shit, it's actually happening. So we're going to go over the album first, and then we're going to talk about the movie because, of course, we had to fucking watch it.
Well, yeah.
I mean, did you think we wouldn't? That's stupid. It's a long cartoon filled with metal and violence. Of course we're going to fucking watch it. So right away, I noticed that this album is a little bit different than the other three Dethklok albums. Like, granted, all three Dethklok albums, I feel, are a little bit different from one another. This one, I would say... maybe like a little bit heavier.
A little bit heavier, a little bit grittier, a lot more atmosphere.
Yeah.
It seems like they kind of played with a lot of styles here.
And I mean, production, of course, is lavish. It's huge. And, you know, occasionally I will bitch about overproduction, but in the context of this band being the biggest metal band in the universe and their fictional universe, of course it's going to sound huge. So you have like lavish synths, you have angelic choirs, you have interesting samples in the opening track, Gardener of Vengeance, which has weed whackers and
lawnmower.
Yeah, and people screaming. So yeah, I don't know, there's probably like a death by leaf blower in there too. Why not? But it opens up very chuggy, and right away, like, the production feels much thicker and much heavier. Like, the guitars, I feel, are probably more down-tuned than they were.
Oh, yeah.
And just, like, more of a low end to it. And vocally, this kind of took a little bit to get used to because, well, it sounds more like just straightforward death metal vocals. Like, you know, it still starts sounding more like Nathan Explosion towards the end.
Yes.
But at first, it was like, it just sounds like a mid-range death metal roar.
Actually, in the beginning, I thought it sounded like Dez from Devil Driver.
Yeah.
Coal Chamber. It was very much that, because, like, it's got a little bit of higher register at times, and then it's, again, more screams than growls, not necessarily Nathan Explosion.
Yeah, and musically it's very groove-laden, lots of syncopated chugs. But, like, all right, the one thing I would say, like, Dethklok's style was universally, like, I mean, Dethklok and Metalocalypse, I mean, it's an amalgamation of a ton of different styles of metal because they want to pay tribute to, like, you know, how wide and reaching this fan base is, so they employ a lot of different styles. So you got death metal, thrash metal, you know, some, you know, more like D-beat, crusty sections occasionally too.
Groove metal.
It's all kind of whipped up, but at their core, I would always say that they were closer to like melodic death metal overall because while they have great heavy riffs, like lots of big syncopated chugs and just heavy, bleak sounding riffs, they have great soaring melodies. And, you know, the lead work is always exceptional. You know, Brendan Small is a hell of a guitarist, and his Squigdelf, you know, persona, like there's always neoclassical play everywhere. So there's always room for these big ascending melodies. But honestly, like this front half of the album, you don't get like a lot of that.
No, actually, a lot of the front half of the album is more groove metal than it is death metal, or even mellow death. I mean, while it is there, it's in the lead work, at least in the first half of the record.
Yeah, the album really doesn't start getting more epic until like around the song Bloodbath, where the more melodic death metal tropes really start taking over. Like there's a little bit on Gardener of Vengeance, but Bloodbath is probably the one where, you know, the melody starts soaring a little bit more and the leads get a little bit more triumphant, I guess.
But then overall it gets darker too, right around that time.
Yeah. I mean, it does get fiercely brutal on Aortic Desecration, which honestly is one of the heaviest songs I think they've ever written. It is a flat-out death metal song. It is brutal as hell. Melody is more, you know, just kind of brushed aside in favor of just brutality. In fact, the vocals on there are some of the harshest I think I've heard from Nathan Explosion / Brendan Small. I don't know. I feel like you just can call them the cartoon characters at this point.
I mean, it is Dethklok. This is the cartoon characters.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a real band in the sense that they're, you know, emulating the cartoon characters.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it's a real band, but it's not. But it is.
They're real to me, damn it. You'd be that crazy wrestler guy. Like, no, it's all real to me. And then weep a little bit. The back half of this album, the last 5 tracks in particular, are absolutely fantastic. Horse of Fire, you start getting more into that big, triumphant, mellow death sort of vibe, and it just feels like the album gets bigger around that point. It just gets fucking huge and epic. The opening riff on that song is instantly infectious. It's just chuggy, but there's a good hook to it. The syncopation with the drums is awesome, and once again, I believe they have Gene Hoglan on drums. Yeah, Gene Hoglan.
Fantastic work.
Always.
I expected no less, though. One of the gods of drumming.
And in terms of just like flat out vicious triplet chugging, just madness, SOS is a fucking beast on here. This one gets brutal but also triumphant. You get that sophisticated, over the top, evil feel to it. The groove is just fucking there. Like, it's an instant headbanger.
Very much like Decapitated, but played with Gojira's guitar tones.
Yeah. Actually, the guitar tone is very similar to Gojira. Like, that was something I noticed. The guitar tone, again, was kind of something to get used to because you compare it to the other albums, and it's, you know, notably like a little bit more crisp. These sound a little bit dirty.
Well, and it didn't start out that way either.
Yeah.
The back half of the record is easily heavier than the front half. And the guitar tone, I don't know if it changes or what, but it didn't really start to shine until it got to things like Deadface and SOS and Satellite Bleeding.
Yeah, Satellite Bleeding is almost kind of proggy. There's some really cool transitions in there, and the lead on that song, I think, is a little bit different. A lot of leads kind of have like a neoclassical flavor to them. That one's kind of like different in terms of the phrasing. Like, it kind of moves around like a progressive metal lead a little bit. But the front half is notably like a little bit more like different. Like, there's just some different songs, like Mutilation on a Saturday Night. Great night to do that shit. Is kind of like a punky barn burner. Like, it's a syncopated D beat. It's just driven by chugs. It's, you know, one of the faster tracks on the album, and it's a little bit shorter, and it's just sort of a straight ahead song, like kind of like a death metal tribute to Motorhead.
I think it had a newer Sepultura feel. Like, after Max left and, you know, you got Derek Green, and it just had that sort of vibe to it.
Yeah, like kind of somewhere between thrash and groove metal. Like, the riffs are really cool, like in terms of like the syncopation. I like the drum beat to it, and you know, it was like a little bit different for them. You know, generally on a Dethklok album you get some stuff that, you know, it's clearly like maybe like a little bit more of like the joke song.
Yeah.
And this one kind of had that feel. It was a little bit more like loose and fun. But I also like it when they get like serious and just dark and brooding. And the song Deadface might be like one of the most brooding songs on here in terms of like a more doomy, sullen atmosphere. Like it almost kind of has like a Paradise Lost sort of vibe, like early Anathema. It's gloomy, it's sullen, and it never really gets like super melodic or like ascending or anything. It kind of stays down the dumps, and it's kind of interesting because it opens up with, well, Grandpa's guitars. It has acoustic guitars, at least in the beginning, and well, I mean, we know how the guys feel about that. But one of my favorite moments on here, and I'm not a big fan of sequels to songs, but Mermaider 3 whoops as much ass as the original Mermaider. I think it's better than the second Mermaider, and it is better than every Unforgiven sequel that Metallica has ever written. The song's a beast. It is a slow churning chugathon.
Pounding evil fucking goodness. It is, man. Those triplet chugs are just sick. It's got twin leads in it. They dry hump these riffs. It's just,
What I think they may have kind of missed on the second one was I think it got a little too epic too soon. Like the first one is just a raw, pounding, kind of simple driven song, and they kind of get that back on this one. And then as the song goes on, it gets bigger and more epic, but it also bookends right back down to that syncopated chug. And that syncopated chug is what drives that song. And it's a song about mermaid slaughter the third time over, and it has not lost any luster. I don't dread these sort of sequels if they sound this fucking good.
And we said we were going to circle back to the front half of the record because I don't want to leave it. It's not without merit by any means. But in comparison from song 7 on as being just heavy, brutal fucking music, the front half, while it's there, it's just different.
It's kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's bad, but it's definitely different, and I think, in my opinion at least, weaker than the back half of the album.
Yeah, I do feel like there's some filler tracks on here, like I Am the Beast and Poison by Food. Poison by Food's, it's kind of just there. Like, it's heavy. It's got some good groovy sections to it. Like, there's some solid riffs, but it doesn't quite gel for me. Like, it's better than getting actual food poisoning.
Yes, I've had actual food poisoning. It is murder.
Same.
It is absolutely horrible. The things coming out of both ends at the same time and just wishing for death.
That's like a reverse spit roast, right?
It was horrible. Horrible. I don't wish it upon my worst enemy. Fucking horrible. But you'd think a song called Poisoned by Food would be a pretty brutal song, especially in light of Dethklok themselves being brutal. And it's not. It wasn't really. Like, the drum work was great, of course. Verse had a pretty stank-faced riff on it, but the rest of it feels like it's just there.
Yeah. And I Am the Beast, I don't know, like, it starts off all right, and then when it hits the chorus, like, just the chord changes on it. When it comes down the chorus, like, I don't know, it doesn't quite line up for me. It's either not very memorable in terms of the melody, or it's memorable just because it sounds off a bit.
Yeah.
And while I think Bloodbath is one of the stronger songs in the front half, along with Mutilation on a Saturday Night and Aortic Desecration, which is a definite standout. That is a banger of a track. Bloodbath feels like a teaser for what is to come on the back half. It's, that bigger, more epic, kind of brutal melodic death metal sound, but it's not quite as good as like everything that follows. And honestly, when we were watching the movie, we noticed that, some of these stronger tracks that we pointed out, like Aortic Desecration, Deadface, SOS, those were ones that showed up in the movie. And, well, I mean, in my opinion, they picked the right tracks.
Yes. Although it was strange, they only picked those 3 tracks. There's not a lot of this record in the movie, which, I mean, it's fine, because the actual score of the movie itself is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's only 3 songs off the album.
But in summary for this album, first off, I'm happy that Dethklok and Metalocalypse have returned, albeit this might be the end of it, because it definitely kind of all ties it up.
It does. Let's hope not, though.
Yeah, I'm not hoping for the end of this.
I don't want to sell that short.
No, I already want more. But I dig this one. This is a pretty solid album. I'm gonna go ahead and give it 3.5 stars. Bit of a kind of so-so start. I mean, it was still good, but man, like the back half of this is everything I want out of Dethklok. And it's amazing to think about this cartoon band is just latched on to the metal community so well. But the music, if the music had sucked in the show, I don't think we would have remembered it as much. I mean, of course,
agreed.
It still would have been fucking funny, but I mean, would you watch it over like Aqua Teen Hunger Force? I don't know. But the music is still, once again, good. I just think they kind of backloaded the album, but man, those fucking songs are so goddamn good. And Aortic Desecration, that is a flat-out brutal song. That is probably the heaviest song they've ever written. So again, rocky-ish start. I mean, it's still good, but this is just fantastic. Like, if you love Dethklok, if you love their penchant for soaring melodies and ridiculous lyrics and just, kind of outright love of all things metal, go check this out. It's another badass chapter, and hopefully not the closing chapter for this band. I already want more, but I guess we'll just see. But yeah, 3.5 stars. Good shit.
It's also a 3.5 from me. It was going to be a 3 until I got to the back half of the record, I'll be honest. The front half, I think, is just kind of there. It's still really cool. I do agree with Nick. Aortic Desecration is pretty fucking heavy, especially for a cartoon band.
Take that, Josie and the Pussycats. And whatever fucking Jabberjaw's band was called.
It's good to have Dethklok back. I've missed Metalocalypse. I've missed Dethklok. I've just missed the show in general. I remember back when it first started, and I was like, holy shit. There's a metal cartoon. Holy shit, it's really well done. Holy shit, the music's good. I agree with you from the standpoint that if the music had sucked, I probably wouldn't have paid that much attention to it. If it had been new metal, I would have been like, yeah, I'm gonna watch something else. But I mean, it's supposed to be stupid. The music in the back half is really good, but I'm gonna allow the front half because it's supposed to be dumb. It's a cartoon metal band whose sole focus is brutality and murder and gore and all the wonderful things that make this show awesome. It's actually a really good welcome back for this band. Even the songs that I didn't like, I loved because it's Dethklok. Yeah, but really the back half of the album whoops ass. Yeah, 3.5.
And well, we got to talk about the movie Army of the Doomstar. And yeah, we figured we just had to fucking watch it because, I mean, we're going over the album. And holy shit, this movie is fucking wild. First off, I gotta say, like, in terms of the animation of the show, like, everything is stepped up.
Yep, they definitely put a lot more thought into it. Just like everything feels like it flows better.
Yeah, I will say I think the story really, really focuses on Nathan Explosion a lot. Like, the other guys, granted, I mean, I suppose they're kind of side characters because Nathan's always been, like, kind of a big focus there. But, I mean, that was, something I kind of expected, but man, the humor is spot on. This is the most swearing I think I've heard in a cartoon in a while. Like, everyone's being called, fuckers and dickweeds, and it's hilarious. Everyone's got a filthy fucking mouth, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it does focus more on Nathan and how he loses himself and loses the desire to play music and wants to go out and start a family and whatnot, and then finds himself, and the way that happens is kind of crazy, and a lot of very, very funny moments.
Oh my god.
There's a lot of fucking comedy in this movie. I don't want to ruin it, but or just say I'm on Xanax.
the opening bit where they're doing the press conference in front of everyone, dude, they're absolute dicks to the host. It's amazing. And the host was John Hamm. They got John Hamm to do a voice in there. I'm not sure he's done voices for the show, but I mean, they brought back Mark Hamill. They brought back Malcolm McDowell.
Scotty Inn's
in there for a bit too. Kirk Hammett's in there. King Diamond, which he's definitely been in the show as well. It's just a flat out fun, ridiculous movie with, again, like, much better animation and a ridiculous story. It's like it's hard to fucking follow. But
it is. There are actually quite a few times where I was like, what in the hell is happening? A lot more gore. Like, they've always had a lot of gore, but, like, there's a lot of blood.
And other slimy substances. Mm-hmm. And, yeah. Again, it's something that kind of closes everything up. Like, you find out what's going on with the main mysterious villain, and, certain key characters are gone. I'm not going to spoil the movie for you, but this does close it up. And I suppose it leaves it open, And it's kind of an ambiguous sort of feel to it. Like, I know that the idea behind this, at least as far as I heard with Brendan Small in the interviews, was to close this chapter. I mean, he's got other projects he's working on too, like Galacticon is still doing his thing. But I don't know. Like, I feel like there's a crack in the window.
Yeah. I think there's a little bit of a shred of hope. Again, I don't want to ruin it at all, so I'm not going to give away teasers. But like, there's a possibility that it'll make a comeback.
You're gonna have to do like a whole new story arc, I would say.
Yeah, that's gone. And one more thing I want to say too: the scene with Dr. Roxo is fucking ridiculous.
His vision of God is ridiculous and probably gonna OD at any moment.
My goodness,
dude, that whole scene, that might be one of the best animated moments in the history of animation.
It's up there.
So much cocaine.
The man. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. If you have a fear of clowns and drug addiction, watch it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah. This might trigger, but man, oh man, is it good.
Now, while only a couple of songs actually appeared in the movie, there is a really cool score to this. And, I mean, he did a really good job scoring this. And I believe the CD version comes with the score to this. And it's very lush. There's lots of symphonic elements, and he works in the metal moments. I don't know. It's really cool. Like, this was a really well-done project overall. And... you know, I don't know. I'm having troubles like saying goodbye if this is goodbye. I don't want to say goodbye.
No one wants to say goodbye. Goodbyes suck.
Yeah, but if it is, I think they closed it off pretty well. I'm definitely gonna watch it again. I mean, I fucking bought it. Overall, I give the movie 4 stars. I dug it. I thought it was a solid watch. You know, there were spots that kind of dragged a little bit, but not that much. And honestly, I was just spellbound by the just ridiculous humor. And again, some of these scenes are absolutely insane. Like, I mean, people exploding into puddles of goo. Dr. Roxo fucking just stole every fucking moment in one scene.
Yep, that whole scene rules.
It's great. That honestly is worth the movie alone.
Yes. I don't know what to rate a movie. I'm not a movie rater. It was a great time. I suppose 4 stars is fair. I don't know necessarily I'd give it 4.5 because it did drag a little at times. But the animation's pretty fucking good, and the storyline might be a little bit stupid, but once again, it's Metalocalypse. It's supposed to be over the top.
I just don't learn that fast.
You'll see.
Yeah,
I mean, 4 is a fair rating. It was pretty fucking good. I will definitely watch it again as well. Dr. Roxo, dude.
Oh,
I can't say enough good things about that scene. That scene is pretty ridiculous. But yeah, no, it was a good movie. The score was good. The music is great. Even the little storyline, stupid as it may have been, was really cool. And plus, it was just good to see it back. It's been gone too long. And what a way to come back. And if it is closed, that's a huge bummer, but you'll see. Yeah. You'll see. Watch it for yourself.
Yeah, like I said, if you want to watch a cocaine-addicted clown do the single greatest rendition of Amazing Grace ever, then watch this movie. So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We are also on Patreon. If you'd like to help us out there, there's a link down below at thrallsmetal.com, which is currently under construction, but our Patreon link is on our channel. And again, when that site shows back up, it will have shirts in it, and we will definitely be showing them off before that even happens, and doing a giveaway for them.
And again, if you've been watching any of our videos in the past, we have a chance to jump in on some promotion for some shows that are coming back to the area. Our local hometown venue, Frankie's, is finally back and open after 4 years of laying dormant. And Innovations has come back around and decided to start booking shows again. October 1st, doors are at 6 p.m., $25 to get in, Revocation, Unearth, Entheos, and High Command. A banger of a bill to come back with.
And of course, thank you all so much for liking, subscribing, following. All that shit is just again, amazing to see this channel grow.
Yep.
Well beyond any expectations we ever had.
Far beyond anything I've ever imagined.
And we are just, again, dumbfounded by it.
Yeah.
We were already dumb before that, so.
Pretty fucking dumb.
Yep. But anyway, thank you guys once again, and we will catch you later.